guys, Penny here from Monaco Nail Academy, and over the next few minutes I'm going to show you how to do a super easy beachy nail art look to celebrate the start of the New Zealand summer here in the Southern Hemisphere, so that you can celebrate too wherever you are with something quick and easy to do for clients. Now, Steph and I have come up with a new concept for a few of the upcoming videos we're filming for you. I haven't seen the nail art inspiration for today's video until about a minute ago. So Steph collated all of the ideas that we have ready for the filming that we're doing today, and she has literally just given me this picture. So until about 7 seconds ago, I didn't know how I was even going to achieve this. You can see it on your screen now, but I have an idea and I don't know if it's going to work. That's one thing that I really liked about this concept, is I don't know how I'm going to do it or if it's going to work, but I'm willing to give it a go. And I think it's really similar to what we deal with in the salon every day, because you don't necessarily know what a client's going to ask for until they're in your seat. So to get started, I'm going to do 2 layers of a color gloss color called Cafe Latte and pop that down onto the nail art wheel that I'll be putting this art on. Now, I could go all out and do something quite mottled and pretty on Cafe Latte to make it look a little bit more like sand, but this should be sort of salon viable nail art. I want you to be able to recreate it with your clients, and so for that reason I'm going to try and keep it as simple as I can. And also because we're working on such a small canvas, it's not always the best idea to overcomplicate a design. So what I'm going to do next is create a base for the water to go on. And this inspiration that Steph has given me is a base. It's done with alcohol inks and resin in real life. It's a super popular trend I'm sure you guys have seen all over the internet. And so we need to try and mimic that in our own way. In the same vein as keeping everything as simple as possible, I'm going to take Bride, which is the brightest color gloss white, and just put in where I want my water to land in general, and then cure that as well. And while I pop a second coat on, don't forget to hit the like button if you like what we do and want to see more of our videos. Now, the further away from the water's edge that we get, this image is darker. So we want to also use a variety of blue pigments, which is what I'm going to work with today, to work from dark to light before we add in the wave edges or where the water is breaking. So I am using 4 pigments from the Be Creative range that we stock here at Monaco Nail Academy. From the Pure Primary collection, I have the black and blue, very simply named. And then I have here Bloodstock blue from the Neons collection, as well as Ocean, funnily enough, from the Brights collection. And I might not use a lot of each of them, but I just wanted to have a variety of color sitting in the background. I'm also using the purple brush from Be Creative. Now, this brush I'm mentioning because I know I'll get a lot of questions about it. At the moment it is a discontinued product, but we actually heard that there might be some fun new products coming from Be Creative this year, and we're definitely crossing our fingers for a lovely new brush because this is one of my favorites. So I am going to take the lids from each of these, which my pigments are very well loved, and I'm not one of those YouTubers who goes and has a whole second set of everything to look perfect on camera, because my pigments are very well loved. But I need these lids for the way that I'm going to work with the pigment. So I'm going to take my purple brush and dip into the lid of the black. If I want to, I can pick up a little bit, but I really want as little as possible actually, because when you look at the image that Steph provided for me to create this art, there's no black, but there is a depth of color, and that's what I'm trying to achieve. So I'm just going to sort of dab or mottle down some black, starting as far away from the water's edge as possible. And that's literally all I'm going to do. And then I'm not going to clean my brush in between. I'm just going to wipe it off on my table towel. And then I'm going to go into this nice deep blue. The pure pigments that we have from Be Creative are pure, named so because there are no additives. It is literally just pigment. It's the ingredient that you would add into paint to color paint. It's just an ingredient. It is not a sum of ingredients. Whereas some of the shimmery pigments that we sell do have additives to stop them from clumping. So without a declumping agent, the black and the blue do sort of get crumbly. They clump together. And therefore pressing them out in the lid means that I squash those clumps and I have a nice fine powder to work with. So I'm just working with the pure blue, and I'm going to come back in over the top of that black and add in some blue, and I'm going to take it further forward than I took the black, but still not all the way forward, and I can thicken it up and get some nice color in there. Alrighty, so next we have a little bit of Bloodstock Blue from the Neons collection. Neon is also a very pure pigment collection, and so it can clump a little bit sometimes, so I've squished it out in the lid again, and this time I'm going to add in that color, but I'm not taking it all the way forward and I'm not taking it all the way back. I want to give some definition where the color is changing, and so I'm letting the black and the pure blue do its job right back at the deepest part of the ocean and taking Bloodstock Blue a little further forward. I'll wipe the excess off my brush and go in with Ocean. Ocean does have a slight shimmer to it. It's a really fun pigment for us to use, and one that I use a lot. The Brights collection, if I had to pick a favorite, would be my favorite, I think. And so I'm going to take Ocean and take it right up to the water's edge. Now, if you were a little nervous about getting pigment on the sand, something you could have done was to do your 2 coats of Cafe Latte and then a coat of, say, correction gel, cure that, clean its inhibition layer, buff it, and then go in with your layer of the white bride color. That would mean that the Cafe Latte had no stickiness, but could still take top coat later, and without the stickiness, pigment wouldn't adhere to it. It would only stick to bride, being the only part with an inhibition layer still left there. So I've been a little bit risque and not done that today. If I happen to get pigment on the Cafe Latte sand layer, I can still fix it. It's not the end of the world. If that happens, I will take a little bit of monomer on my purple brush, on a clean purple brush, and I will be able to clean it away. Not a big deal. But those are 2 options that you have if you're worried about getting pigment in the wrong place here on this nail. So with Ocean, I'm just going to take it a little further down, not all the way to the depths of the ocean, but enough that it kind of merges all those other colors together. Now, if I want, I can come back in and add some of those first colors, which I love doing. I love repeating the colors, and it just helps create that massive color that all blends together and makes for a really cohesive, pretty nail. You do need to be a little bit careful that you don't overpack pigment when you're working with it. It's only going to chip if you overpack it, but I'm pretty confident with the way that I work with pigment, and especially because if you have a look on our YouTube channel and search for the word pigment, we have a video that teaches you all of the ways to avoid your pigment chipping, and those are things that I would incorporate on a real client if this nail was going on a real client, so that this wouldn't chip and it wouldn't be an issue. For now though, I'm just going to, I've patted all of that in. I'm pretty happy that it's secure. I'm happy with my blend, so I'm going to pat it all in and then stroke away all of the excess. And I can be pretty rough doing that. I'm not going to ruin the design or anything because of the way that I patted it into the inhibition layer before doing this. Now that I have my color down, I want to be able to do some blending with gel polish. And now if I put that straight on top, when I start manipulating the gel polish, it's going to ruin the pigment. So what I'm going to do is put my pigments away. I don't need them again. And then I'm going to coat this with a layer of correction gel in the clear color, or not color, as the case may be. So I could choose to clear coat this in lots of products to protect it. I could use bonding gel, which is the color gloss base coat, and that's quite nice to paint over the top of, so that's a good option. It also only has a 5-second cure, so it's good if you're working into a time limit. I could use glossing gel, but glossing gel is designed to be shiny, so sometimes it is nice to work on if you want it to be quite slippery, and if that helps with your nail art. Other times it's not so good because your nail art, if you're trying to do really fine stuff, will bleed. Neither of those things matter to us today, but we do have quite a thick layer where we have added Bride, and then quite a thin layer where we have Cafe Latte. I'm choosing correction gel because it is a thicker consistency gel. It's going to self-level and it's going to sit thicker where the Cafe Latte is and where that level is lower than where the Pigment and the Bride is, and we have a higher edge. And so using correction gel today is going to mean my finished nail is a more even, pretty surface that a client's really going to like. And while this is curing, make sure to join our product support Facebook group, which I've linked in the description of this video. Alrighty, so let's get these waves in, or the breaking edge of the water. So I have a little bit of Bride off to the side off camera, and I'm going to pick it up on my purple brush, which I have cleaned, and place it down near the water's edge. This technique is very similar to marbling, so if you have marbled lots, then you might already know where I'm going with this, but I'm going to wipe the gel polish off my brush, take a tiny bit of monomer and just dab that off as well so my brush is damp, not saturated, and use that to just blend out this edge of the water. And I'm going to do a few layers of this. I want to avoid over curing the nail as best as I can, but I also need to be able to layer this up. So I'm going to chuck a few rows of waves in, but I'm also going to then cure it and do that several times. So it's going to take me a little minute. It would be much easier if I was working across two hands and could work on one while the other was curing, but let's just get stuck into building some waves. So now that all of our wave layers are cured, we can just go straight ahead and top coat this. The waves are all cured. They've all been in the cure box for a full 30 seconds. Sometimes that means they stay a little bit damper, if that's the right way of saying it, than a normal fully cured layer would, just because we've added in the extra monomer, but that shouldn't stop you being able to top coat straight away. So I'm going to grab my artistic glossing gel, pop a layer on of that over the top, and then I believe this nail is all done. I think this worked out really well, if I do say so myself. I think it's a really cute, fun idea and a fun way to bring beachy nails into your nail art this summer, if of course you're in New Zealand down with us in the southern hemisphere. And I think it's quick and easy enough that you could do a full set of this in a pretty decent short amount of time. It's fairly salon viable. If you want any extra help with these techniques, have a look at the gel polish trickery and the pigment modules of our The Art of Nails course over at www.monaco.ac.nz. And if you spot some nail art inspo that you'd like to see me recreate in a YouTube video, tag me in that at Monaco Nail Academy on any of our social media. Before you disappear to do that though, please hit like on this video and subscribe to our channel if you like what we do, and if you've made it this far, I'll see you in the next video.